Early on in Rebel Moon, we are told about an epic prophecy about a girl, a mythical Issa, who will be born to end the madness of war. We learn this from an android no less in perhaps the most important scene of the movie, although a bit too subtle to emphasize its importance if you ask me. The android, Jimmy, tells this prophecy to a girl named Sam. The conversation that plays out between them has almost mythical quality to it, and you wonder why Jimmy acts so human while he tells Sam the prophecy. And more human still when Sam gives Jimmy a floral tiara. Add to that the idyllic backdrop, and Jimmy splashing water on its face like humans, and you become lost in the myth yourself. It's a powerful scene and a very special moment, one that explains the movie better than what follows. But the problem is, this scene is crammed between two equally powerful but menacing scenes that are important in setting up the central premise and conflict of the movie. And as a result, you forget about it as soon as you're done hearing about it, and you don't get to hear about it ever again in the rest of the movie. But that's not the fault of the movie. It's what it does after. It's when the movie starts undermining the prophecy and finally kills it. In a rush to save the farming community on Weld, the movie sees Cora moving at lightning speed that would help her defend the people there. She recruits her warriors one after the other by visiting different, sometimes dangerous worlds. The movie doesn't have time to explain or build anything from here on out. The world building feels rushed. The different worlds Cora visits feel like customary set pieces, and the characters feel plugged from popular sci-fi when not from popular medieval fantasy. Nothing feels natural, and everything and everyone appears to be waiting for the scene to cut to them. There's a cyberpunk city with a rainy night, neon lights and alleys, a desert with a beast to tame, and a planet dedicated to gladiator fights, all because they had to. There are again customary fight sequences to cement the worthiness of the warriors to be recruited, all cliched, whether it is the taming of a beast by a Dothraki or killing of a half-human spider queen who is a spider from the waist down. Nobody gets justice when it comes to character development or the bad guy's character development. This isn't a review of the movie, but these hollow narrative choices from the movie won a mention as they played a special role in relegating the essence of the movie to the last place. Plus, I couldn't stop myself from calling out the treatment of the Spider Queen Hamada, a complex character motivated to capture human children because her own don't survive now because of the cobalt mining by the humans on the planet Dagus. Such characters need screen time even if you're trying to use them to develop the main characters. But the movie doesn't understand that and tries to sell us the pain of losing a child as a mother regardless. No wonder it killed the prophecy when it did. Surprisingly, what does help the prophecy is the backstory of Cora when she tells it to Gunnar, but only till it loses track of the prophecy and begins to develop Cora's character, which by the way it does a decent enough job at. We get to know a lot about Cora and how and why she ended up living with the farming community at Weld. But the movie treads too carefully about the prophecy to make it seem like it was false to begin with. I get the appeal of a prophecy and why you wouldn't want to spam it in every other scene, why you would only want to use it sparingly. But to underuse it to such an extent, to make it so subtle that rushed world building could finish whatever remained of it is plain stupid. Speaking of which, another thing that got lost in the setting up of this world, universe or galaxy is the thing that sets Zacksnyder apart from a lot of his counterparts. The no-go moral zones where he takes his all-powerful characters. Even that got lost in setting up this banal space opera. With all that said and done, it's important to point out that the android Jimmy did return toward the end of the movie to hint at having found the prophecy to hold true. If you can forgive a space opera for playing Galaxy enough to hide its essence and for making it unimportant by the seriousness with which it goes about setting everything up for a sequel, do give it a watch.